In this video, your final preacher is going to do what all of the temple have been wondering. I am going to compare Versace Eau Fraiche, the original, versus Versace Eau Fraiche, Eau Extreme. This is a fragrance that has been anticipated for a great many years. The original came out in 2006, 19 years ago. This has been a nearly 2-decade wait. And what do we get, brothers and sisters, after all this time? Let's find out. According to the scrolls of Fragrantica, Olivier Crisp returned to create a new rendition of his 2006 masterpiece. Versace Eau Fraiche was an absolute killer when it came out. Your final preacher is a huge fan of the original. So first of all, let us compare the presentations. I think that this is a home run. I'm actually very happy with this. Your final preacher is very impressed with the new version. I think that the original Eau Fraiche and the original Versace Man, let us not forget that, brothers and sisters, was a beautiful centerpiece of a fragrance presentation. When Eau Fraiche came out, the theme was clear. This was a swimming pool. I have noted this in my original review of Versace Eau Fraiche.
The patterns on the box are something I really like because they are the reflections of the overhead sun as they hit the swimming pool bed, and of course they make those light arrays on the surface.
To me, the sky blue and clear see-through aesthetic were perfect. This was trying to showcase a beautiful summer's day whilst you're out in the swimming pool. And it did not disappoint. This new version to me, I feel, is just as aesthetically pleasing, just as wonderful. This is a swimming pool at night. This is the water at night, darkened with a purple hue. I think that also it does help that you can actually read the text on the new version. The original version, you can't do that as much. But to me, this is a summer day. This is a hot summer evening. So both aesthetically, I think that they both win. Both of them get a 5 out of 5 on presentation. Both as iconic as the other. But what really counts is what your final preacher thinks of the scent. Let us go back in time. To me, this is one of, if not potentially, the best thing that Versace has ever produced, for a few reasons. One being is that it's not really a direct clone of anything. If you actually look at Versace's catalogue, many of the things that they have done are clones of other things. And they went through an experimental period at the beginning, and then they did Versace Man, and that did not do well. They wanted that to be their signature fragrance, but it didn't sell very well, and it was way ahead of its time. I'm actually doing a Versace tier list in a few days. You might want to watch that to get the full story of the Versace men's fragrance line, and the failures that it had to endure before it achieved the great success of Versace Man. But what really was Versace Man? It was a clone or an inspiration of Chanel's Allure Homme Sport. And then that was a reoccurring theme. Dylan Blue was essentially Sauvage, and Oud Noir was Oud Wood by Tom Ford. This is still, in fact, Versace Man Eau Fraiche is the final rendition of them trying to take a risk, of them trying to create an original fragrance. And it is still absolutely amazing. People love and adore the starfruit in this, but to me, I think it's a lot simpler than that. To me, this is one of the greatest renditions, one of the greatest workings of the beautiful, of the whimsical sacred alchemy of ISOE Super. Alas, you actually put this on one wrist and you put Molecule 01, which is essentially ISOE Super in its rawest format, and you smell them together, and they're quite similar. But this uses citruses and uses the unique citrus note of starfruit, and that is what brought this thing to the dance. That is what made the temple elated with joy when it came to the temple. It greeted the temple with a wondrous, joyous smile of a summer's day by the pool. And that's what it still reminds me of this day. This, on the other hand, first of all, people were very upset and quite, let's say, skeptical of the fact that starfruit wasn't even in this. I mean, one of the problems when a release comes after such a long time is that people believe that the amount of time that it has taken for a release to come is the amount of time that they have worked on it, which could not be further from the truth. Your final preacher dabbles in video games. Your final preacher is still waiting for Half-Life 3. If you know, you know. I want my Half-Life 3. Gabe Newell, give me the goddamn video game, alright? I'll even review Half-Life 3 if it ever comes out. Your final preacher is not the final preacher of the video game community. He is the final preacher of the fragrance community. We've been through this, okay? But I'll do it. So with this, you think that, well, 19 years, obviously they'd put so much work into it. But no, this unfortunately smells like a cynical recreation of some of the more popular fragrances that have come in the past 3 years. It reminds me of a few things that I've smelled, and then I'll tell you generally what that smells like. So let me spray this on again. But Yves Saint Laurent myself is definitely in here. A little bit of the Invictus DNA also in here. It is a solid use of pepper, lavender, some citruses. It also reminds me a little bit of some of the newer cool water fragrances. But what this is together and what these things share is a bland, fuzzy recreation of the lavender-vanilla combination that has been going since the 90s with Le Mal. It is very safe, not really challenging. I would say that with Eau Fraiche originally, now look, Eau Fraiche is not a challenging fragrance, but it's a joyous fragrance. And what it always has smelled like to me, the original, is it has smelled as though you have come out of the swimming pool after a jolly 20 minutes swim, something like 85 degrees, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Your final preacher loves his North American fans. And you come out and it's extremely hot. 30 degrees centigrade for the UK chaps. Really, really bloody blisteringly hot. And the water comes down and it hits the dry pool area. And so a little bit of dust, a little bit of concrete, maybe a little bit of cement flies up, and it's that smell. It's so distinctly that smell. It's the wet, watery hit onto the dust, the cement, the brick layeth down. And Eau Fraiche always reminds me of that. I feel as though genuinely that's what the whole aesthetic of Eau Fraiche is. But this doesn't smell really like a swimming pool. It doesn't really smell watery or aquatic. It smells quite aromatic, actually. And your final preacher is not mad. He is not wrathful. But he is damned disappointed. 19 years for this? I don't think so. Olivier Cresp, come on. You are Cardinal Cresp to me. You have made such wondrous contributions to the temple. But this, I feel, is not one of them. But your final preacher is a kind and loving preacher. And what I would say is this. Although this smells like generic, lavendery, icing sugar, there's been so many things that have smelled like this. It's a little bit of Mont Blanc Individual, a little bit of YSL myself, a little bit of definitely Le Mal influence in here as well. That sort of tumble, drier, linen smell with a little bit of lavender cloudiness in there. There is a depth. There is a juiciness to it. There is a fruitiness to it that I do enjoy. And what I will say is that it is incredibly wearable. It's very, very easy to put on. It is non-offensive, even if it is not at all unique. And sort of trying to be a bit too damn safe. But I do feel that if somebody is new to the fragrance game, if somebody is brand new to all this and they want a new signature scent, I am more than happy to look the other way, brothers and sisters. If this is your first ever fragrance, that's fine. Projection and longevity are equal. One thing I will say about both fragrances is though they may not share the same scent, they share the same performance, the exact same performance. To me, Eau Fraiche has always been a long-lasting fragrance on me, and Eau Fraiche Extreme lasts the same. I've seen a few people say, oh no, this lasts way longer, it's extreme, it's eau de parfum. Not to me, not to your final preacher. They're about the same. 10 hours longevity and projection is solid. Overall, I think that, to me, it is a somewhat cynical addition to the Versace Man story. If it was up to your final preacher, which of course it should be, I'd bring back Versace Man. Versace Man, a tobacco fragrance, tobacco vanilla fragrance, released all the way back in the early 2000s, was way ahead of its time, and it's actually more relevant now, and it's more daring and it's more interesting now than this. But they chose safety with this one. They chose general audience. They chose widespread appeal with the Versace Eau Extreme. And if that's something that you're into, if that's something that you love, Your final preacher will not judge you. You will be judged at the gates of Fraghala for your sins. For the high-tier fragrance aficionados, most of them are ministers of my fragrance ministry. I would not recommend this. I would say that there are other things that you can try. Those who have decided to join me and my fight and my path to reclaim the artistry of this fragrance temple. I am the only one who can save you on your fragrance journey. I cannot look in good conscience, sir or madam, at you being left out into the cold where the influences will snatch you. So I say unto you, your final preacher has blessed you. He has given unto you the information of the 2 Eau Fraiches. And now I say unto you, give thanks to your final preacher. Join his ministry, and I will see you in the next one.